Hey guys, Justin here. Today I'm going to be talking about the V2 by One Drop. I'm going to be running it through a series of different tricks, and I will be talking about how it performs. This one has the One Drop Pure Matte finish, but I also have another one here. It's got the blasted finish, so where it matters, I've tested both of them. The V2 is the follow-up to the Valor Yo-Yo, and it is just fantastic. I started out with one of these that I got secondhand, and now I own 4 of them. It's not the most comfortable yo-yo I've ever held in my hand, with these flared up edges here. It can certainly hurt with a bad bind, but I love the way this yo-yo plays, so I'm willing to look past that. I'm also using the standard One Drop. Oh, no I'm not. In this video, I'll be using a centering bearing that came with this when I bought it secondhand. I've also tested with the One Drop flat bearing on the blasted one. I'm going to string it up with my trusty Airetic Hyperglo Yellow Standard, and we'll see how it performs. Here I'm doing a cold fusion to a kamikaze to test how well it goes through 2 pretty standard tricks. With the flat bearing, I notice only the slightest resistance in cold fusion when multiple strings are in the gap. However, it doesn't feel like it's immediately bringing the yo-yo to a halt. This is likely due to a combination of me being imprecise and the flat bearing. When I use the string centering bearing, I notice no issues. In kamikaze, the rejection feels fine and it's fantastic overall. The V2 feels very powerful, but still pretty easy to maneuver. Here is Skin the Gerbil, testing some speed and how well the yo-yo rides along the string. The V2 doesn't feel too heavy and it moves nicely from element to element. Even if I'm less precise here, I don't notice any friction. This trick is Bouncy Castle, showing how the yo-yo hops. While doing the hops, the yo-yo feels perfectly weighted to me. It doesn't jump too high and it doesn't feel like you're catching a rock. Sometimes, if I don't get the string out of the way fast enough, it gets sucked back up into the gap and causes a bind. This can be frustrating and also painful because of the angles on the rim. Here is Calypso to test grinds. I tested both the Pure Matte and blasted finish here. The blasted finish is definitely smoother, but even the Pure Matte doesn't seem too grabby, and in neither one did I notice much power loss during the grind. As long as my finger placement is correct, I don't notice substantial leaning during the grind portion. However, if I hit the part where the rim transitions, it almost immediately falls over. Here is a finger spin. Without a finger spin cup, you have to keep the yo-yo on an angle. When it starts to right itself, it will wobble around your finger. That said, while it's in the correct position, it feels pretty good and it's easy to get your finger in there since you're not aiming for anything specific. Additionally, there's nothing sticking out to get in your way. Here's a basic horizontal throw and bind. Don't judge the yo-yo too much by this because horizontal is definitely not my strength. The V2 seems to be very forgiving with my sloppy horizontal play. Even if I miss the strings, I usually have a chance to correct without it immediately tilting. So here are my final thoughts on the V2. This yo-yo is incredibly smooth on the string. It just glides around from trick to trick and I absolutely love it. It does have a bit of a thunk on the end when you throw it down, but otherwise it feels perfect to me. The V2's response system is great. It's rarely snaggy, produces a tight bind, and I don't think I've ever had one slip on me. It doesn't feel like the V2 is ever holding me back. It feels like if I have made a mistake that it's my fault and I can't blame it on the yo-yo. As a beginner, the V2 helped me really determine what yo-yos I liked. The 7075 aluminum is something that I tend to gravitate towards in other yo-yos as well now, and I really enjoy this shape. This is one of my favorite yo-yos that I've ever played with. It connects with me in a way that most yo-yos don't, and I love it. Those are my thoughts on the V2 by One Drop. Thanks for watching. See you next time.